So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another scene for the living world of darkness. Rage across New York. Hegger. Wherein we are setting back on the Sept of the Green as Tempoint has promptly walked back there and clambered onto her favorite perch ever, which is a giant boulder that we lovingly refer to as the Rock. She was even there this morning. It's just a nice place. So she has clambered back up onto the rock and will be probably perched there cross-legged with a notebook open um, across her lap, and is periodically flicking between a page that she's keeping her finger on and then forward to write what seems like a veritable novel. An answer, flip back, check it, start writing again. And admittedly is sans antlers at the moment. But yeah, that is what she is about. Probably glancing up as people wander by, what have you.
And Garm, who have woken up, realizing that, well, I mean, it was definitely not an SD. Someone could say, unfortunately. He has decided to look around a little bit because, well, I mean, they're fucking weirdos. All of them. So it's like, yeah, I'm in a park, and where the fuck was I sleeping? What is everything? What is my life?
I mean, I'm pretty sure you wake up in a hole in the ground, so good luck,
Exactly.
buddy.
Exactly. That's where my life is currently.
In a hole in the
ground.
ground.
In the hole. He won't admit it, but he almost missed the bird. He almost
Never
missed the
confess.
bird. But he will not admit it. So, yeah, he's just walking around, just trying to grasp on this "you're gonna have to live like a bum" thing.
Getting the lay of the land.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows? Who knows? His boss might show up, like, just taking a stroll in Central Park, and he will be able to crack his skull open. Getting
Lovely.
getting his hopes up.
Well, he will have found that there are at least a couple paths that, no one really, like, there's a couple people he'll pass up and down them, but, like, whereas there's tourist foot traffic in a good bit of the park, there's some areas that just are weirdly secluded. It's like you pass a couple of trees, and suddenly there's almost nobody there. And everyone seems, friendly enough there. They acknowledge you more often. Weirdos. And in this case, there is a random kind of hippie-looking chick in a oversized jacket because it's still chilly out. Sitting cross-legged on top of a really big rock. She must have done some climbing to get up there. Though she will perk a glance as he putters by, kind of quirking a brow. Are you exploring, Andre?
He just turns and squints as he's like he's unsure because making the difference between the weirdos and the weirdos kind of not weirdos who are still a bunch of weirdos. It's kind of hard.
She will take the pencil and with it will gesture vaguely above her head. I had the antlers last time.
Ah, yes, antlers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you must have a name, and
Temporary.
I'm not sure I remember it.
Or more properly, 1,000 cuts, Raya. But
Did
10
you
is
call
fine.
me Raya?
No. Have you learned what Raya means?
I mean, I got a text, and I keep hearing people rioting everywhere.
Why don't you come up here for a bit? And she'll scoot over and pat the rock. Answer some questions. Hopefully at a pace where it'll help you remember.
He looks slightly dubious at the rock, considering everything that he saw thus far. It's like having a sense of normality is a little bit weird, but he's gonna walk to the rock and just
If he's
sit.
like, is he like side eyeing the rock?
Yeah, it's like I'm not trusting the rock right now, but I choose to, for now, trust it, or
Yeah.
at least fake that I trust it.
Well, while he's giving it some serious side eye, she'll pat it again. He's awake, but he likes the company. Come on.
And yeah, he walks and then he sits on the rock.
And once he's clambered up and gotten settled, he'll give a little head bob, like, "Good job, buddy." So just so you understand a few of the words, Raya is like saying "sir." It is a respectful term for one who is higher in rank than you, which right now will be pretty much everyone except the other cops.
Okay.
And when you are meeting people, you will need to learn to bare throat at the very least. Some will expect you to show belly too.
Hmm. Okay.
It is a carryover from our four-legged kin.
I did woke up near a wolf, so I'm gonna take it that we are not just humans.
No, I've never been human.
As he looks at her. Okay.
She dares to adopt a vaguely playful smirk. Wearing the shape and being one are not the same.
So what?
Hmm. Two more words, and then I'll answer your question. All right?
He squints his eyes so hard. Well, his eye so hard at you.
She will even tick it off on her finger, holding out the first one already, having told him Raya. And so flicking out the second one, tapping the ball of the finger. Yef is a respectful term for one who is the same rank as me. Raya, you will be expected to use these other two. Perhaps not, but it is good to understand what they mean. So Yef follows a name for one who is the same rank. You could use it with the Cubs if you wanted. And then she'll flick out the third finger. Anrai is a respectful term for one who is lower ranking than yourself.
So pretty much nobody.
Not yet. In time. And again, it is still good to understand what people are saying. There's no need for you to feel like an outsider.
Considering the look that I'm getting, I'm not entirely sure. with that face.
All right.
So, uh, as a just lift his finger.
Mhm.
Garm Soderbergh, human. Um, what the fuck did he say again?
Theurge.
Yeah, that.
Or you could say born under a crescent moon if it is easier to remember.
No, that's too long. Too long, too tedious. Might as well use one word. No need to be fancy about it.
She she looks a little bit bemused. Thankfully she's not being kind of stiff-faced about it, so it's easy enough to read. Well done. Though she will reach over and, just with one finger, kind of tap the bottom of his chin. And I'm sure they taught you that too.
As he just sigh very heavily, and he he show he show throat, but it's more as he's almost stretching his neck as a gesture. It's like, yes, I'm just making a head gesture because otherwise it's weird.
Well, thankfully she seems amused rather than upset about it. Well, it is not something that I keep to high importance. It is a good thing to do out of habit. The day you forget is the day you will regret forgetting. And I am 10 Point, deeded Thousand Cuts. I am a Metis-born Theurge of the Fianna. I am foster in rank, and I am the keeper of the land here in the Sept of the Green.
Hmm. As he he looks he looks at her for a bit, and he take a deep breath. I will have to modify that picture, but yes, that's more or
Mm-hmm.
less. God damn it! Why when need one, just need for one, and he chose to no, no. This one is not gonna work. This one is
You
not
want
gonna
the
work.
picture?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm
Just flip it.
looking. Yeah, no, 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 no. I want to flip it, but look at this. Like,
Oh, yeah, that'll happen. That's fine.
so, yes, let's just finish that now
Why is he making that face?
because you've said way too many words with
Sheila, like,
stuff
she
in it.
kind of turns an eye to him to see if he's, like, processing. And when he just blanks out, she grins and, again, kind of ticks things off on her fingers. My name is 10 Point. A deed name is a name granted for great deeds that you have done. My latest is Thousand Cuts. You could call me by either. The Thousand Cuts would be more polite, technically. We will touch on Metasporn in a second. I am a Theurge, like you are, born under a crescent moon. Speaker to the spirits, shaman, druid. Whatever word helps you understand best. My tribe is Fianna, which means that I hail from Ireland and am part of Stag's tribe. We'll touch on that too. Fostern rank means 2 steps above yours. Cub, Cleith, Fostern. And Keeper of the Land is a position that means that I am responsible for the upkeep of the park here, at least on our terms, and of the care of the spirits that reside inside it.
Okay, because otherwise, I'm sorry, but I would have to say that the park is very unkept.
That'd be an impolite thing to say. And she obviously is saying this with a kind of teasing, turns her nose up for a moment kind of gesture. I'm not keeping it to human standards. I'm keeping it to ours. There is staff here, humans and kin, that maintain the public parts of the park. That is their business.
So I thought we were nature friendly or something.
We are.
So what exactly is the difference of standard? Because I kind of don't see people going over how they want a vegan burger.
The difference in standard, at least in far as the upkeep of the park goes, means that while out there, and she'll point out probably to the closest area where the veil touches it down, out there, they expect to see flowers in planters and pots. They expect the bushes to be trimmed, the trees to be pruned. Convenient for humans to pass through and to look on. And here, where it is just us, she kind of gestures around. They do some maintenance. Removing diseased or broken limbs from trees. Policing up the undergrowth somewhat. But all in all, simply maintaining the natural cycle rather than trying to alter it or make it. And she even picks up her hands to use air quotes. Pretty.
Okay. So what exactly are we talking about in terms of spirits? I remember Big Beard saying that I was a spirit talker.
You are. And she considers this for a moment. As much as we are human and wolf, we are also spirit. So the spirits in this place will recognize you as kin, some more closely than others, if I remember from getting a look at you. But they are familiar with us, and at least in your case and mine, we speak their language. There are age-old contracts where they aid us. There are also new deals to be made, new bargains. There's also simply the fact that it is in our interest to keep them happy, at least here on the Sept, in our place, on our territory. We want them to be content. We want them to be cared for. And they are just on the other side.
So, okay.
Would you like a chance to go across with some guidance?
Oh,
Or would you
as
simply
a
like to talk about it?
as a he's thinking. Well, I mean, pretty sure that clever asshole must be waiting for me. Mm, I guess as he's thinking very hard of his next choice of words, and he just looks around as if he's expecting the bird to just appear somewhere. I think I think I will remain here for now. He he's a little bit overwhelming.
Very well then. And she'll take a glance around because she does have Pulse of the Invisible because Dana is a bitchin' totem. I will probably glance around until she spots wherever that cuckoo is chilling Umbra side. And just kind of, give it the brief little eye contact of like, I see you. He will always be near, even if you cannot see and hear him. But in this case, if you're more comfortable here, so be it. So, the first spirit we will talk about is Great White Mouse. While you're here on this park, will you protect this place, this cairn, this wellspring of Gaia? You will be patronized by Great White Mouse. She is the mother to all of us on this sept. Great White Mouse is a very kind totem. She has granted us, as her children, greater efficiency at biting at our enemies. She makes us harder to track. But in exchange for the gifts she gives, you must never, so long as you are a member of this sept, so long as you live on these grounds, you must never kill a mouse, a rat, a rodent. You must do them no harm, because they are, as well, her children. Do you understand?
Yeah, I get it. Don't kill rodents, or else.
The last person to do so is no longer among us, if that is any incentive. It is a grievous thing to upset the totem for our entire sept, the one that looks over all of us.
Mm. Uh, okay. Okay, so don't uh, don't bother Don't bother the mouse.
Yes.
Any rodents?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything? Anything else?
No, we have only the one totem just now.
Okay. So, so, what exactly is a totem? Like native?
I believe it is very similar to what the word means for humans as well. In this case, the totem of the sept. Perhaps I should take a step further back. The sept is this park. And just off over there, and she will point in the appropriate direction, is what is called the cairn and the cairn heart. The cairn heart is a wellspring of Gaia's energy, of her power. It is a place of power. It is sacred. And what this totem is a spirit who has agreed to be bound to that cairn. And in exchange for obeying her rule, her one rule, she empowers all of us to better protect this sept and cairn.
Hmm. Okay.
If a spirit is called a totem, it means that it is bound to a group of people. That there is a bargain or a contract of sorts in place.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a sept totem. And then in the case of many of the packs here, well, all of them now, as far as I know, each pack will have its own individual totem. So again, a greater spirit that has agreed to overlook that particular group of people, and in exchange for obeying whatever rules it may have, based on its nature, it grants us boons based on its nature.
So, what you're saying is that I'm some kind of VRP to Spirit, and I'm gonna have to pass contract with them.
Sorry, he's gonna what? He's a what?
Nah, sorry, sorry, it's the French. It's the French word for salesman.
I suppose you could look at it that way. There are many different methods to what we do. I consider the spirits an extended family. And when I ask them for things, I ask them for favors in exchange for favors. I ask them for their kindness in doing a deed, and I appeal to them that way. There are those who are more like you were talking about, and who make it more of a strict bargain. And there are others still who, when a spirit does not provide what is needed, simply subdue the spirit until it is forced to comply. Though there's still always rules, there's still always something to be paid in return, and that is called chiminage.
Hmm. Can a spirit be an asshole?
I suppose so, if it is within their nature. I think you'll find, if you sit and think about it, that most of the spirits that you will meet, they are... And she kind of pauses, pulling in her lower lip, chewing on it for a second. They are almost cliches. They are everything that you would think they would be. When you look at a dove spirit, it will not simply be a dove, as you would see here. A dove spirit is impossibly white to represent how pure they are. They have an air of calm and kindness, and they can bring peace, they can bring healing. They're everything that a dove represents. So, if the spirit is one that is characterized often as being difficult, they certainly can be.
So, how exactly does one know how to, well, I guess how to approach them?
In
So
some
from what you're
measure,
saying, the thing that I get is that, mm, I mean, I'm gonna need a fucking encyclopedia.
some of it is taught, some of it is intuition. You were human born, so some of it will simply be things that make sense if you sit back and you think about them. If you were to approach a unicorn spirit, you would want to go probably in your Hamid form, dressed in white. If you were to approach a spirit such as Stag, whatever form you may be in, you would want to stand tall and proud. It simply depends on the nature of the spirit. And while I will teach you as much as I need to, hopefully you will find, with a chance to be exposed to some of them, that there is a certain amount of intuition. I will hope that yours is good. At least one of your, well, I suppose they're in a way siblings, is also a Theurge, and her intuition is very good. There's no harm in asking for advice.
Mm. Okay. So is there a thing I should absolutely not do outside of killing rodents with spirits?
Again, it depends on the spirit. Some things will offend one and not others. But so long as you are on the sept, it is simple enough to say that regardless of how it may appease whatever individual spirit you might be going to, I would not bring Owl a caged mouse, or such things as that. You might also keep in mind, if you regularly deal with opposing spirits, that you do not do anything that would too grievously offend one or the other. I've managed to sustain a fairly good relationship with both earth and air spirits. And there's a bit of juggling involved. She'll lean a little closer, kind of sarcastically, metaphorical juggling.
Uh,
It will often serve you well to be polite to the spirit you are approaching. I tend to refer to them as honored spirit, or in the case of those of my brood, which will be determined when you reach adulthood, as little brother or cousin, just depending on how they're affiliated to the brood of my tribal totem. And broods are, hmm, you know how there are pantheons of gods in human mythologies?
Yeah.
The spirits also have something like pantheons. Great White Mouse, for example, is also, well, she is not Rat. She is her own spirit. But Rat would be the tribal totem of the Bone Gnars. And Rat has his own pantheon, spirits that he is affiliated with, spirits that serve under him. By the same token, Stag has his own pantheon of spirits that are affiliated with and serve under him. And don't worry, we will take the time to go over these. What spirit is affiliated with what tribe, what spirits are tied to them. I imagine it will help if you learn the tribes first, so that you have something to associate them with.
So I know I wasn't tripping, but was there really a dog in a knight armor?
Oh, yes, probably one of the attendants of the King of Pets. Anything. Anything that you can think of, anything that is a concept, anything that is established. There's almost certainly a spirit of it. There are spirits for animals, but there are also spirits of the elements, spirits for lakes, for trees. There are spirits for concepts like justice. And in this case, there is a spirit known as the King of Pets, who oversees, well, domestic spirits, dogs, and the like. Not cats, though. There's a Queen of Cats, and she is her own entity. And when he gives her that look again, she's just gonna kind of give a helpless shrug, like this is the way it is. There's nothing I can do.
Um,
King Bragos has taken, well, King Bragos, the King of Pets, has kind of struck up residence on the Sept, as has Queen Tibia, who is the Queen of Cats. Normally, I wouldn't worry too much about including them in your education on spirits, but seeing as they are here, King Bragos is a frog. King Bragos will still expect to be called Your Highness, even though he is a frog in a very fancy cape. He is still a powerful spirit, and if that is the way he wishes to be addressed, then so be it. You'll find that much of what we do is simply appeasing spirits so that they will continue to yield us benefits in our fights against the worm.
okay. I guess gonna gonna take gonna take a while. It's just a visit. But
You know, I
I
have a
guess I don't
thought.
have a choice anyway.
In a way, you do. But Luna tends to know best when she shines her face on you. You have been dedicated as a Theurge. I imagine that while it'll take some getting used to, you'll find it comes naturally to you. But I have a thought. Come. And she'll kind of close the notebook, stuff it in her satchel, and go to... Actually, rather than sliding down off the rock, we'll produce the mirror, because I forgot that this only exists in the fucking Umbra now. Just briefly.
Okay.
Do you remember how to do this?
They are very hard.
Look into the reflection, look into your own eyes, and look deep. Pass through your own gaze. Just let yourself fall into it. Trying too hard will yield very little results. And she will flick open the mirror and hold it up to where he can look into it readily. Ironically, the glass in her little mirror has been cracked, like shattered. It hasn't actually like fallen out. It's still adhered, but it's kind of a lattice of... I mean, some pieces are bigger than others. But she'll hold that up to him and let him go first so that she can keep a careful eye.
Okay. So we're going to look into that cross.
Nope, we
Just...
doing this.
Oh, okay. Then we need to put a thingy in the stuff.
Doing that now. Oop. And I think you said it's diff 3 for the most part when cubs are trying on Sept.
Yeah.
There you go. And there I go. So yeah, she will hold the mirror until he is completely through the gauntlet, and then we'll pop through almost immediately behind. Still sit on top of the rock, which still looks mostly like a rock, at least from this angle, thankfully.
And he... Yeah, when she passes, she sees that pretty much he's being pecked by a bird. God damn it! Fuck you!
Well, that's not necessary.
Yeah. And yes, the cuckoo is just pecking.
Now, how is he going to learn if you keep acting like that?
I heard him saying I was an asshole, so I'm being an asshole now.
Well, you'll justify his claim.
Well, maybe I want to claim him. As he just sits on top of the cub's head.
I mean, even if he stopped pecking, even if only to look smug, you know what? Success. And while she may not physically have her antlers, there will be a slight, I imagine, kind of like, because they don't glow all shiny and bright, but I imagine there is essentially a ghostly pair on her head as she comes back through, because she does have some mild spirit heritage. And once she is sure that the pecking has stopped for the moment, she will slide down off the rock and then glance back up as if waiting for him to follow.
And he will follow after a bit, probably resigning to the fact that, yes, he will never get rid of the bird.
Nope.
That he has to accept his fate.
Yep, and so she will strike off, commenting, I think you'll like this place, and we'll lead him around, and while in his wandering, he could have sworn there was not a building here. There definitely wasn't a building here. But here in the Umbra, there is definitely a building. And she will just kind of casually cast open the large kind of garage style door and walk in, and it is a forge. I mean, it is more than a forge. There is more than simply that. There's some mechanics tools in there. There is a place with shelves that are covered in little clay pots that have dried. But for his interest, there is certainly a forge.
And he he just looks and looks back at her. Do I even want to ask how? Or should I keep my sanity just above average?
I think it is probably easiest to say simply that it's complicated. The forge and the training grounds reside only in the Umbra. For the security of the Sept, to make sure that humans don't stumble across these things. They're only here.
Yeah, I I think that people would probably ask questions.
Exactly so. If you need to bring something here, you can ask me. You can ask the Tail Singer. She kind of thinks about it for a moment, mulling it over. Any Theurge can help you dedicate an item briefly, but she pats her satchel. I can carry things back and forth fairly readily.
So if I want to make something here and then I want to take it out, I guess I need to ask somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's just gonna stay here.
Pretty much. Never mind that if you meant to use, say you were to forge yourself a weapon, if you wished to be able to use it well, it would need to be dedicated to you anyways. That way when you took your larger forms, it would grow with you and still be wieldable. But if you were making something that was not for yourself, yes, you would need someone to either dedicate it to you or put it in one of these bags to carry it across. And by dedication, I mean simply that it would be an item that the spirits recognized as, in a way, a part of you. And thus it would pass through the gauntlet and change with you.
Okay. So, he's just gonna look around, Forge, still thinking, I'm not gonna ask questions.
And yeah, she'll let him roam around and poke at things and explore it a bit, see if he takes any particular interest. She's kind of hinging on an educated guess here, but I mean, if he's tied that closely to Fire Drake, that forge might look pretty appealing.
And yeah, I mean he at least he has pretty much had a grump face for a little bit, because life is wonderful, and all those weird new things to take into account and all those stuff. But when he starts to touch the anvil, touch the hammer, you might see on his scaly face the hint of a smile.
And she's like proud mama style, standing back and just kind of letting him do his thing.
Yeah, you say that until he gets dragon fever.
I do.
But yeah, he just completely stay near the fireplace. It's like at least here it's hot.
Most of us have somewhere on Sept that we find some semblance of peace. I had hoped you would like this. And if you do, you are welcome to come here anytime you wish. You may learn to forge metal if you do not know already. I can teach you the basics.
Yeah, I guess I can accommodate that.
You can what that?
I can accommodate myself with that.
Sorry, sometimes my mic decides to freak the fuck out. Sorry, you said I can what that?
I can accommodate myself with that. Hello? You hear me?
Yep, I hear you. I hear you.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm still here. It's just every once in a while my headset like goes bananas. Usually only once per scene though. Okay. Then feel free to come here whenever you like, whenever the den father or den mother hasn't called you to another task. Here, we'll make this a teachable moment. And she'll wander over to the forge, which I imagine there are some fire spirits in there that are just having a merry old time. And and yeah, she will meander up and pluck up what I imagine is stocked coal. In a way, for them, this is chiminage enough. And she will, flick the piece into the forge, watch them, the little spirits hungrily go after it. And while this is considered I am told that it is like giving someone a gift card for Christmas. I don't understand what that means. It is not personal, it is not thought out, but it can still be considered a polite offering. And at that point, she will. Yes! She will actually kind of just exhale a point of gnosis. Actually, considering she's in homage, she'll just kind of manifest a little globe of green light in her palm. Hopefully, your connection to Gaia is reasonably strong. In a pinch, you can offer some of that power that she's granted you, some of that resonance, some of that energy. And much as the little spirits flared when the coal was offered, she will next cast this into the forge, and of course they will all scamper over it just like they did the coal, consuming it, glowing brighter, growing larger. These are forms of chiminage. In this case, and she glances down to them to make sure that they're hearing her, because I imagine they've perked up since she led with an offering. They will understand that I'm giving this to teach you. But an important thing to remember, as important as it is to pay your debts to the spirits, you do not want to go into chiminage debt. You also, by the same token, do not want to overpay, where they will come to expect overpayment. And when you ask for something you truly need, you may find you're not able to pay. Simple enough?
Yeah. I guess it's just like being a salesman, indeed.
Very much, I think.
Yeah, you just created a monster. Now he's just gonna walk around like a lawyer.
So do not be afraid to come here when you wish. Do not be afraid to communicate with fire spirits. As much as humankind see them as destructive. And she'll kind of waft a hand over them, and she's just fed them, so they're not about to burn her. They are
Lies.
one of the...
We like to burn stuff.
They do, but she did just feed them. Neener, neener. They are one of the more benevolent, one of the more easy to deal with spirits. Fire's needs are simple. Their desires are simple. They want to eat, they want to consume, they want to grow. And knowing what they want, they are easy to pay.
Mm. So I guess yeah, ice spirits, wind spirits, they must be among the same blend.
Water spirits are also very easy to deal with. They're appeased by dance and song. Wind spirits and earth spirits are somewhat more begrudging. The wind does not like to be called out of the sky. The earth does not like to be pulled up from its slumber. They are not the hardest spirits to deal with, but more likely to be annoyed that you've called them up. I think you'll find many times that it is much easier to approach a spirit than to summon one to you. And since wind and earth are harder to find, as they either reside very high or very low, and are annoyed by summoning, it is much of the time easier to work with what is close at hand.
Hmm. That's gonna be very long, isn't it?
Hmm?
Learning all that. It's gonna take time, isn't it?
Some of it. There are some
Yeah.
things that you may not think of on your own. There are other things you may think of that even I would not necessarily think of. Like I said, much of the way that the spirits are is based on what they are understood to be, rather than necessarily what they naturally would be in the human world. So while I'm very good with elementals, with animal spirits, with nature spirits, with the things that I have encountered, when it comes time to speak to spirits resident to the city, things that would live there and dwell there, flourish there, you will probably have an easier time than I would, simply because you understand the nature of what they represent better than I do.
I guess only time will tell about it.
You'll find your stride.
I'm gonna stay here for a little bit,
Of
if that's
course.
okay.
Well, I have something of my own to be working on. I hope you'll not mind if I stay outside. It is not likely that you would be caught in the webs in the gauntlet on crossing. But I wouldn't forgive myself if I had walked away and you tried to cross without anyone else present and were caught. I won't interfere, but I'll be nearby for when you're ready to go back.
Sure.
And she'll bob her head, give him a kind of a have at it sort of gesture in the direction of all the forging equipment. If you need any help in this too. I am not a practiced blacksmith, but I understand the basics of most forms of crafting.
And he will nod. I still need to better myself. Having companionship is always inspiring.
And she smiles faintly. Very well then. Then, yeah, I imagine what will go on from there is if he doesn't, like, I have no idea if you took any craft skill.
But I mean, of course I did.
Hey, I gotta check, man. He's potentially a better smith than she is already.
Depends. Depends on the roll and the dice gods.
This is true. But yeah, then she'll hang around, make sure he understands how to use the various tools at the forge. We'll probably encourage him, especially if he seems really into it, with the idea that a finely made weapon can even be made more powerful, be made a home for a spirit. You just gotta make something good enough. And see if she can kind of get him driven, get him interested.
I mean, just the prospect of forging seems to drive him a little bit further into it, even if the bird keeps giving opinion.
She will.
Should make something big. Yes, make a giant axe or dance.
She will probably at some point try to tempt the cuckoo over to perch over by her or on her, wherever it likes. It can sit on her head and peck her for all it likes, but it's like, it's awful toasty over there. You wanna come sit over here and not scream in his ear? Because if he hammers his hand, that's gonna suck. Like.
Try me.
I mean, if worse comes to worse, she will totally be that asshole and just pop another pointed noses and be like, "Come on, buddy. I'm not saying go far. Just come on over here and let him do his thing. He's stressed. Come on."
As the cuckoo will just accept the gnosis, as he just will still, he just calms, take it, sits back on the head of Garm, but seems less agitated, and he just say, "Works every time."
You know what? She accepts that. Well, very well. Would you like to do anything else in this scene, sir?
I think we're good for now.
Okay. Then thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We will see you next time on the Living World of Darkness, Rage Across the New York. Dun dun dun.